Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast I run over here on youtube.com/UC Campbell. And it is February 3rd, 2019. By the way, it is Super Bowl Sunday here in the U.S. for people who are in the U.S. on that one, or for people watching in other countries as well. It is Super Bowl Sunday. For people who will be watching it, hopefully you enjoy. Hopefully you actually enjoy the game. Be safe. Everything on that side. If you've had a little too much to drink there, hopefully you get an Uber or you're able to stay at your buddy's place for the evening. For people who will not be watching, me on that one. Because one, at work, two, do not care about the game for the most part on that side. I really haven't watched much NFL in the last, I'd say, 5 years. To be safe on that one, I could probably count on two hands the number of games I've watched in the last 5 years on that side of everything. But to everybody who is going to be watching the game, like I said, I hope you guys enjoy everything on that one. For people who won't be watching the game, enjoy the peace and quiet too on that side. As long as you stay away from social media, obviously, that's going to probably be going crazy with the Super Bowl and everything to go along with that for this evening. But we are not here to talk about the Super Bowl. We're not here to talk about the NFL in any way, shape, or form. To go along with it. So no Rams, no Patriots, no nothing on that side. Obviously, I wanted to get that out there because it is at least a talking point of the week in some way, shape, or form. But we are here to basically go over everything. Obviously, the Royal Rumble was last Sunday, which I was at. I did skip the other shows, especially Raw and SmackDown. I did not go to them live, mainly because I had lost my voice, and it's still kind of coming back to a certain degree on that one as well. My voice was practically gone after Royal Rumble, and like I said, it's kind of coming back on that side of everything. It was a very enjoyable show being there live. Honestly, Raw and SmackDown this week were actually quite enjoyable as well to go along with it. I did watch those ones throughout the week. NXT this week was not much of anything. It did have a couple of matches on there, but it was your traditional after takeover style NXT. So very heavy recap, a couple of matches in there. Not much really to talk about. The storylines will be starting back up as of, well, this upcoming Wednesday to go along with it. And if you did want my full review for the Royal Rumble, it is also on its own separate video here on the YouTube channel to go along with that. So the main talking points of this week, and I feel like it's kind of time, especially with the factor that I have not been doing a traditional style GodSaw's Turnbuckle for probably about a month and a half now. In all fairness, it's been probably about a month and a half. I think we've really only been doing predictions and reviews for pay-per-views on that side of everything. So it's kind of time to really discuss, and it does go to a really big upper side of everything with what happened this week. Not necessarily on Raw and SmackDown, but in the news. So as many people have kind of noticed over the last couple of weeks, everything to go along with that, a lot of news has been coming out about superstars who are either being rumored of asking for the release or have been granted their release to their own to its own side of everything. So far as of right now, rumored to have asked for the release but being denied was the Revival. Both Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder had asked for the release but did not necessarily get granted those. Now, it was a very interesting aspect to the story that most of it wasn't just based upon their creative, but it's the creative of the tag team division as a whole. That was their main complaints to go along with it. So it wasn't just about them, it was also about the other people in the tag division to go along with it. which was a very interesting way of going about that. Or it was a very interesting portion of the story that came out on that side of everything, that they weren't necessarily just thinking about themselves on that one. They were kind of thinking about everybody within at least the Raw tag division, because the SmackDown tag division, albeit with Shane McMahon and The Miz as the tag team champions right now, is actually quite good to go along with it. But Raw's has not been necessarily focused on all that much, and has been kind of, well, lackluster, to say the least. Also, other people that have been rumored to have asked for the release, Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis. Though Maria Kanellis has denied that she asked for her release on that one, does not mean necessarily that Mike Kanellis has not on that side of it to go along with it. That's more been rumor going around. And technically, most of these have been rumor outside. Most of these have been rumor outside of these next two. Those two have been rumored, kind of confirmed to go along with that. Also, Maria's denial to go along with that as well. These two have been more confirmed, and even had an interesting article for WWE.com to go along with it. But first, we will talk that the first one to talk about was Hideo Itami, formerly Kenta, has asked and been granted his release. His WWE run has been very lackluster, to say the least. It started off really good. With his time in NXT right off the bat, until he had gotten injured to go along with it. Some even saying that back at if you remember the Beast in the East special, when Finn Balor won the NXT title from Kevin Owens there, many were thinking that that was going to be Hideo Itami's spot before he had the shoulder injury. He was out for 18 months after some complications with the first shoulder injury. In the end, having to have another one to go along with it. He got injured right away after coming back and was out for 3 more months when it looked like he was about to be going with a program with Austin Aries at the time. So it's been kind of injury plagued throughout his entire time. He did have a good program with Bobby Roode down in NXT, and a decent program as well with Cassius Ohno to go along with it on that side of everything. And then he got moved to 205 Live, where he's kind of been just there to go along with it. Obviously feeling that he would be much better elsewhere, and to go along with everything on that particular one. He did ask for his release and was granted his release. And it was a very interesting... it wasn't necessarily interesting that he was... that he asked for his release. You would kind of thought that this was coming, and even it brings up a whole aspect as if there's going to be a mass exodus from the WWE with the areas of All Elite Wrestling coming around, which I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case, because it's one of those things that... Yeah, All Elite Wrestling does have the ability to throw a good chunk of money around with the Khan family. The Khan family to being in charge of everything. But there's still a lot to really be done with All Elite Wrestling to prove that it's going to be a very viable and a very good wrestling promotion on that side. We have Double or Nothing coming up, which will be something I'll be watching to see how everything comes off. All In came off really good. I want to see how Double or Nothing goes. There's still no TV deal been announced to go along with it, though there's heavy rumors that some very very good networks could be getting All Elite Wrestling to go along with that. And then you have this whole aspect of, again, the talk of, is there going to be a mass exodus from the WWE for people who aren't happy with their creative or anything to go along with that. And then Jericho puts a tweet out there, is like, we're really only serious about maybe 6 to 8 people from WWE ROH and everywhere else to go along with that. Otherwise, they've been pretty much filling up, and you've been seeing it. They've been pretty much filling up their roster with people who have left New Japan, mostly the Elite, to go along with that. And I suspect that Kenny Omega will also be part of that at some point in time. And I would even imagine Marty Scurll might be part of that down the road. But I believe his contract is not up with New Japan quite yet. And I suspect Kenny Omega that will be very soon, because mainly because of the aspect of the being the Elite show on YouTube. And that was kind of given the hint of they've been playing the storyline that Kenny Omega lost his phone. There was a bit in their last episode is like where one of the Young Bucks was talking to somebody. Imagine being Kenny Omega is like, oh, so you found, and they make mention is like, yeah, they thought you would actually be there. It's like, oh, so you found your phone? Okay, see you soon. So they played off of that. So they they don't show a picture. They don't show Kenny in the shot, but you see the same phone that was flipped over before that was lost, and then the person flips it over, and it has a timer of like 9 days or something to go along with that on there. So you would imagine that that is going to be Kenny Omega being part of the All Elite Wrestling promotion. I guess there is still a chance that this could be his more likely his send-off, and it says WWE on the phone or something to go along with that. But I'm suspecting that he's going to be a part of All Elite Wrestling. It just feels like something that Kenny Omega would prefer to do versus necessarily WWE to go along with that. So this brings us into the last person that I won't necessarily say asked for their release, but it was an interesting aspect, and it was Dean Ambrose. There was a very big rumor going around that he was not going to re-sign his contract after WrestleMania 35, and he was going to leave after the WrestleMania 35 time frame. And it's like, oh, okay, so it fell off as one of those rumors going about and wasn't fully confirmed, and then all of a sudden WWE.com basically confirmed it. They basically confirmed it with an article saying it's like Dean Ambrose aka John Goodley, or basically using his real name, said and basically said it's like he will not be renewing his contract that is going to be expiring in April, blah blah blah, all that side of everything. They make mention to appreciating everything he's done with him, and hopes to work with him in the future to go along with that. And that was an interesting confirm on that side in the news story. But then it also brought up an extra news story of it being a work to go along with that. And I don't necessarily think this one's a work. Based off of what they ended out terminology that they ended out using, it didn't really feel like it was necessarily a work. There's a lot of people assuming it's like, hey, this story's going out there. It's like, we don't want to miss out on that type of thing on that side of everything. So it is confirmed, at least for the time being, that that Dean Ambrose will not be re-signing with WWE after his contract expires at some point in April. Another person's contract that's coming up in April was AJ Styles. And it got, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to have to bring this up again to go along with that. I don't think you guys won't see it, but I'll end up seeing it on my end. I forget exactly who reported it, so I can bring up the whole thing. But it was reported earlier, and it was by Wrestling News World, that AJ Styles had come to terms with a new WWE contract. As many people do know, that his WWE contract comes up in April as well. and he's yet to re-sign with the company. Many people suspect that he will be re-signing with the company, but he has not quite yet. So it was reported that by Wrestling News World that he had done so. And then we get a lo and behold tweet from AJ Styles itself saying, and he basically replied to it saying, "What was that? Are you sure? Please let me know. Please let me know the more, because I know nothing about this." And basically denying that he had signed a contract with WWE or to further his WWE time. To go along with it. Now, Wrestling News World did reply to AJ's reply, basically, saying, full respect to AJ, however, I stand behind the story, and time will certainly tell the validating of the story. So basically saying that AJ's trying to throw people off the trail here, everything to go along with that. Now, many people do suspect that AJ Styles will, as I'm going to get that stuff off my screen, that AJ Styles will be re-signing with WWE. Many people do suspect that, though I guess there is that possibility that he may not and go back to an independent scene or anything to go along with that. Many would suspect if he's staying in the U.S., it would be an All Elite Wrestling thing on that one. That it will be an All Elite Wrestling side. I guess there is that possibility of him going back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, anything to go along with that. It's going to be an interesting bit to see where they go with everything. So, in the terms of wrestling news, that's the main side of the wrestling news. Obviously, you had so many days of shows in the Phoenix area where I live in that just went down, and we're going to actually go over those next here. So it is time to actually go over Monday Night Raw for January 28th, 2019. Overall, I thought this was actually quite a good show, and an interesting bit of stuff that went down. Obviously, this was a little bit more of a smarky crowd because there definitely were people traveling into the Phoenix area for these particular shows to go along with it. Also, just in general, the vibe from the night before to go along with that, and that will come up to what we saw a little bit later on in the show. The show did start off with Seth Rollins cutting a promo, winning the Royal Rumble match. Said he had a big decision of who he was going to face at WrestleMania, was going to think about it. Triple H was not having that, though. Triple H was not having that at all. Said, like, I get it, you feel like this is a big decision, but you need to make the decision today, because guess what? We've got promotion to do. We've got all this fun jazz to do. So he said he's going to give him to the end of the night to make the decision, which you kind of know what that means. Dean Ambrose interrupts and cuts a promo on both Seth Rollins and Triple H, and challenging Rollins to a match to go along with it. And he also gets in Triple H's face to go along on all sides with that particular one. Triple H kind of tries to laugh it off at every turn. Eventually, he laughs at Dean Ambrose's initial challenge to challenge Seth Rollins, goes to leave. Dean Ambrose gets out of the ring, as he's leaving the ring, Dean Ambrose just meets him there. It's like, what? You got to go ask your father-in-law? As the crowd is saying, yes, he does. Triple H ends up requesting a ref, and we have a match with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Good match again. Ambrose, in a couple of spots, playing a little bit of an oversell game, especially with the stomp, because he took the stomp, bounces to his feet, and then falls to his back. Still a very good match to go along with it, but you can kind of tell that Dean Ambrose might be in that spot of, not necessarily caring as much as he used to. Ambrose was still in the ring after the commercial break, and he was going to seem like he was going to cut a promo and maybe even go a little bit off script, or making it feel like he was about to go off script, but he ends up getting interrupted by Nia Jax and Tamina, which they have a stare down, and as Tamina distracts Dean Ambrose, Nia attacks him and sends him out of the ring. And then we have the tag team match with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss, or Nia Jax and Tamina going up against Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. The winner of this was going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber match. This was a decent enough match. You had Nia Jax and Tamina ending up picking up the victory after a double Samoan drop from Nia Jax to Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. It looks like Alexa is going to be doing a lot more inside the ring now. It seems like the concussion issue is no longer an issue on that side of everything. And and it's good to see her. It's good to see her back in the ring, because it's one of those things. In the terms of her storytelling inside the ring, Alexa Bliss has kind of been growing on me on that side. To go along with it, I thought she's always been a good character, but has always been lacking when it comes to storytelling in the ring. Her storytelling on the microphone has always been fantastic. It's been the in-ring that has been kind of the thing that I've always felt she's been lacking to go along with it. So we'll see if she's going to be doing more inside of the ring in the terms of a storytelling base or anything with this upcoming run, and after being out for like the last, 4 months of action because of concussion issues to go along with it. Hopefully she ends out, of course, staying safe in the ring, but hopefully we also see even further improvement in the terms of her in-ring storytelling. Kurt Angle cut a promo on Baron Corbin and trying to get everything that basically everything Baron Corbin had been doing to him over the last few months. You know, the Raw general managership, everything to go along with that. Putting him in that match with Drew McIntyre where he got humiliated. They show video footage as he's talking about this. It's kind of hilarious. They don't even do kind of like a dream sequence type thing to go along with it. It's just like they cut away and Kurt Angle's still talking with the footage, and said that his match was next. The match with Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle I thought was a decent enough match, but Baron Corbin ends up picking up the victory, and he picks it up with the deep six. He doesn't even pick it up with the end of days, which is something he does after the match to kind of leave Kurt Angle lying on that one. And it'll be an interesting aspect of what's the story going forward with Kurt Angle. Is it going to be one of those stories of lost confidence going into a time where he does regain that confidence back, everything to go along with it? Or is it going to be almost like this is just it for Kurt? Or how are they going to go about doing this storyline? I imagine they're going to go a storyline where they're saying it's it for Kurt, but he's going to make like this one last attempt into getting things going again, and it'll probably lead to a big win against with him going up against Baron Corbin or something to go along with it. But it'll be interesting to see where they go about that. I think they have something for Monday night where he's supposed to be addressing that as well. You have Finn Balor coming out next. He's basically selling the injuries from Brock Lesnar. Can't even do his normal posing to go along with it. He said he cut a promo on the match with Lesnar, putting Lesnar over even more. But he also says because of the beating after the match, he made Lesnar believe that Finn can beat him, and that's why he did the extra beating afterwards. Bobby Lashley ends out interrupting Finn Balor, and Lio Rush cuts a promo on Finn and what Lashley would do to Finn and everything to go along with that. Finn does cut a line about the Royal Rumble. about how long Lashley lasted in the match, which was about 12 seconds. And then he gets beaten down by Lashley, and I think laid out with about 3 different spine busters. And now they do have a match set up for Raw, with Lashley going up against Finn Balor. It's not for the Intercontinental title, but it will be interesting to see where they go with that one. Is this going to be Finn Balor's program going forward, and is he going to be going after the Intercontinental title to go along with it? You have the Revival going up against Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. The Revival did win this match. Again, it was a decent enough match. They're continuing on with the losing streak, and Kurt Hawkins showing a lot more frustration in these losses to go along with it. So it's furthering along the whole thing about Kurt Hawkins not being able to get a win on that side. To go along with it, should be, I won't say it should be interesting on that one, but they've been playing up this one for so long. It'll be interesting to see who they give Kurt Hawkins' first win against. Will it be with the Revival? Will it be with somebody else? Could it be a Baron Corbin type situation where he gets overconfident and gets caught with a roll-up or anything to go along with that? You had Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan backstage cutting an interview on Seth Rollins as well. Cutting a promo on Seth Rollins about why he would not even bother facing Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. You had Elias in the ring afterwards. And Elias is back to being a heel. And he was saying that he was giving the fans a chance, but they didn't do enough. They did not do enough, as the fans were trying to butter up to Elias and everything to go along with it. It's like, nope. And he's basically back to full heel where he once was. They get interrupted by Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett actually does call Elias slapnuts on that one. So he did use his WCW line to go along with it. Eventually, Road Dogg comes out. They start singing "Home with My Baby Tonight." Renee Young forgets the words, but Elias ends out attacking Road Dogg and Double J, and eventually does leave them lying. Though you did get some fight back from Jeff Jarrett, and I think they even announced the match for Raw to go along with it. I think it's going to be Jeff Jarrett with Road Dogg going up against Elias. So you do have that coming. And that's one thing I've been liking about Raw recently, is like, hey, here's matches ahead of time. Here's a bunch of matches ahead of time before going into Raw. And you're not just getting it like day of. You're getting it multiple days ahead, even to the point of even going ahead and announcing them on the Monday night to go along with it. You had Natalya getting ready for her tag team match, which Dana Brooke comes up to her. So it looked like initially it was going to be Ember Moon and Natalya to try to qualify for the tag team title match at Elimination Chamber, which Ember Moon ended up getting injured, and she's going to be out of action for quite some time. She had an elbow injury from the Royal Rumble match. So Dana Brooke comes up, says, like, I know Ember was your first choice, but I'm better than Ember and I'm better than you. Then walks off as like, all right, let's go do the match. And Natalya's like, okay. And then walks off on that one. They did go up against the Riot Squad, which the Riot Squad did pick up the match, pick up the victory, and they're going to Elimination Chamber as well. You have Mojo Rawley cutting a promo backstage, and he's cutting a promo saying, you're the reason why I'm not doing anything. I'm not bigger than what I am. I have all this ability to do something. And it's like, it's all your fault. And then the camera pans, and it's just him looking into a mirror to go along with that. And I thought this was a very effective promo, because he was very intense in the promo, and it even plays off of an aspect of him blaming himself for his faults. And I thought this was a very effective promo. I thought it came off really, really good. Hopefully this does lead to them doing something more with them down the line, but I thought this was a very good promo. So, here's where things got interesting. So Ronda Rousey comes out. Ronda Rousey comes out to make the traditional open challenge that she's been doing. So she's been, ever since Survivor Series, whenever she's had a match on pay-per-view, she comes out the next night and lays out an open challenge. So she doesn't get to that point because the crowd does not let her do anything in this particular one. She tries to play it off as like, okay, you guys got me to stumble, everything to go along with it. But the crowd was really not letting her get anything going in the terms of a promo. Massive boost throughout the entire time. Basically, Becky chants throughout the entire bit as well to go along with it. And at this point, you would probably assume that Ronda is going to be the de facto heel in that program. If it is just going to be Becky versus Ronda going into WrestleMania to go along with that, but the crowd just completely went off on Ronda in this one. It got to the point that they because like traditionally they had to say, hey, the open challenge is a go, let's do it. Ronda doesn't even get to that point. They send Bayley out there to cut a promo to accept the challenge that wasn't even there. I think she said she says to the point, it's like, Ronda, you're looking for a fight, I'm looking for a fight, why don't you put that title on the line now? You could tell Bayley was not supposed to go out there and cut a promo. They basically, it's like, Bayley, we're sending you out there, here's a microphone, get us to the match. And that's what she did. Like I said, the promo that Bayley gave was not groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, but you could tell that she didn't have lines to really say, because she even introduces herself as Bayley, which most people understand who she is to go along with it. But she didn't stutter at once during the promo. And she was probably not even supposed to do a promo to begin with. And it was like, go out there, get us to the match, cut a quick promo. And they did. Which led to Bayley versus Ronda Rousey, which I thought was a pretty good match. I thought was actually a pretty good match. Ronda Rousey, of course, picks up the victory after getting the armbar on Bayley. They shake hands. Becky Lynch comes out. Place goes absolutely nuts. And this was absolutely great. So as bad as the promo stuff was with Ronda before the Bayley match, this was really good because Becky cuts a promo on Ronda and says, unlike Seth Rollins, I don't need to wait to know who I'm going to choose. I choose you. And then Ronda cuts a promo on Becky, which was absolutely intense. It's like to the point of like, there's a heavy rumor that it's supposed to be a triple threat. You can just keep it with those two and it should be fine. It should just be absolutely fine to go along with it. So I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Like I said, the promo beforehand didn't get going at all to set up for the open challenge, but the promo between Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey was absolutely fantastic after the match with Bayley. Which, again, I thought was also a pretty good match to go along with it. So, up next we had not Baron Corbin, but we had Drew McIntyre going up against Braun Strowman. Strowman does approach Seth Rollins in the back and tells him to make the right choice. As it goes further with the match with him and Drew, Baron Corbin does come out and eventually does cause the disqualification, and Braun Strowman picks up the victory. But it looks like Strowman was going to gain control over the both of them and was doing the shoulder tackle to both Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin. But as he was going for it again, McIntyre comes in, hits him with the Claymore, and then eventually they leave. Corbin and McIntyre did kind of a lifting slam onto the stairs to Braun Strowman to leave him lying. So this led us to the final bit of the night, which was Seth Rollins. Which was Seth Rollins basically wanting to are basically supposed to be making his choice. So as they were initially going to welcome Seth Rollins back out to the crowd, Brock Lesnar's music hits and Heyman cuts a promo on Rollins why he shouldn't be facing Lesnar. Go face Daniel Bryan, it'll be fine. You're just going to get destroyed by Lesnar. Rollins comes out, no words, just punches Lesnar, and he goes for the stomp, but gets caught with the F5, and then Lesnar does it again and again and again, and eventually does it on the title to go along with that. And Rollins ends up getting back up and saying, "Is that all you got?" Because Lesnar was going to leave. Lesnar comes back, one more F5, boom, and done on that particular side. Yeah, it's going to be... There was a slight rumor going around that because of the beating that Finn got after the match at Rumble, was that maybe the Mania match was going to be Finn in demon form going up against Lesnar. But I imagine with the amount of F5s that they did on this one, that is going to be the original plan. That was going to be Seth Rollins going up against Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at WrestleMania. To go along with that, if they are going to do something with Finn again, they may do something before WrestleMania to go along with it. And now for SmackDown on January 29th, 2019. Again, I thought this was another good show. I felt like Raw was good and SmackDown was good this week. And that's been kind of the trend as of late, that these shows have been, like, SmackDown's always been pretty good to go along with it, but Raw is, like, it's starting to actually be good again to a certain degree on that side of everything. You have Becky Lynch coming out, cutting a promo on winning the Royal Rumble match, and with another promo on Ronda Rousey. Charlotte ends out interrupting. She claims that she's the one that brought all this out in Becky. The new attitude, winning the Rumble match, going to WrestleMania, everything to go along with that. She laughs and goes like, "You're welcome," and "You're welcome," and everything to go along with that. And she's so proud of, she's condescendingly saying she's proud of Becky. Becky punches Charlotte, walks off. Charlotte does attack Becky from behind, and they brawl on the stage. They are still playing up the knee from the Royal Rumble to go along with that. So that's something that they may be doing. Maybe that's one thing that they use to get Charlotte into the match, if that is the case. But like I said, I would probably prefer it just be a one-on-one now between Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. If they put Charlotte in there, don't get me wrong, if they put Charlotte in there, I think it's going to be a really good match with all three of them. But I think story-wise, you don't need it. You don't really need it, though. I feel like that's still the way that they're going about that. On that one, and Charlotte will probably find her way in there, though. Like I said, it probably just really needs to be just Becky and Ronda for the WrestleMania match. Up next, we had R-Truth going up against Shinsuke Nakamura, that R-Truth cut a promo about, losing his number 30 spot, and it was like, I was granted this match because of that. And this was an interesting match, because Shinsuke Nakamura goes for the win really quick in this match. And looks like he was just going to destroy R-Truth, but he does block does prevent one Kinshasa to go along with it. But Shinsuke basically dominates most of this match. Anytime that R-Truth gets offense, it's automatically countered to go along with it. But R-Truth gets a roll up after an avalanche attempt and gets the pin and picks up the victory. It was an interesting way of going, because they felt like it was an accident, because they kept going, but the referee rings for the bell, and we have a new U.S. champion. It came off feeling like an accident. I feel like that, honestly, with everything that went down, to go along with it. Maybe there was supposed to be more time before this. I don't necessarily, obviously we don't know, but maybe it's also a way of protecting Shinsuke, saying it's like, you know, we're gonna put the title on R-Truth, but we're gonna make it look like it was an accident to go along with it. And the reason why you feel like it's like it was kind of what was supposed to happen, even though they made it feel like it was a botch ending, was because Rusev comes out and while R-Truth is celebrating, he's like, one of the reasons why I wanted to get that U.S. title off of Shinsuke Nakamura is because it deserved better than that. And he says it's like, and it definitely deserves better than R-Truth. And he challenges R-Truth to a match. They have a shoving contest. Carmella shoves Lana, and then eventually R-Truth accepts after Rusev gets in his face. They cut to commercial break. They come back. It's Rusev and R-Truth. R-Truth picks up another victory with a roll up, and then Nakamura comes back out and attacks R-Truth. And then Rusev and Nakamura leave Truth lying after I believe a Machka kick and a Kinshasa to go along with it. And it's an interesting aspect of where they're going with it. And the interesting aspect that they are putting Rusev back to being a heel on that side of everything. Though not really going too far with the face area of Rusev to go along with it. They kind of turned him really quick, and they turn him, and he's teaming with Nakamura to go along with it. It's an interesting aspect to the story, and we do see something a little bit later. You had what was going to be Rey Mysterio going up against Samoa Joe, but Zelina Vega comes out and distracts Rey Mysterio, cutting a promo on him, saying it's like she knows he's the one that got her banned from ringside in the 2 out of 3 falls match, everything to go along with that, putting over Andrade, which Andrade Cien Almas attacks him from behind, and they start kind of brawling around. It looks like Rey was going to get a 619 after countering a Three Amigos attempt, and it gets countered, and hammerlock DDT, and Rey Mysterio again left lying by Andrade. I still can't believe they changed the name, but I guess whatever on that one. He's still Andrade Cien Almas to me. To go along with it. The club was backstage. They approach Rusev. They are not happy about what they did to R-Truth. The club challenges Rusev and Nakamura to a match, which Nakamura comes in, ends out accepting it on that one. And then Rusev turns to Nakamura going like, I'll team with you one time. Don't screw me. Which makes me feel like we're going to get them teaming more than just once. You had Shane McMahon coming out with The Miz to basically have a tag team title celebration. They go over their history, everything from the Crown Jewel and the World Cup stuff to them winning the tag team titles. Shane brings out Miz's dad, which Miz's dad says he's proud of The Miz, everything to go along with it on that one. And then Shane's like, you know, we've won these tag team titles, but we've got to defend them. So there's going to be a number 1 contenders match here tonight with it being a fatal 4-way elimination match, which was going to be the Usos, the New Day, the Bar, and Heavy Machinery. And that was going to happen right afterwards. But before the match happened, you had Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville backstage, and they announced that they were declaring for the women's tag team title match at Elimination Chamber, which was an interesting area because on Raw, they have everybody qualifying, but on SmackDown, they can just declare that they're in the match. I think on Raw they even have Sasha Banks and Bayley going up against Nikki Cross and Alicia Fox in a match on Monday, but also over the weekend, apparently the Iconics declared. So there's an area of like, on Raw, you've got to qualify. On SmackDown, it's like, we've got tag partners, we're good. We're in on that one. So a little interesting snippet to go along with that. Then Mandy Rose cuts a promo on Naomi and showing footage from Tough Enough and everything. And now Mandy Rose kind of has a motivation for why she's going after Naomi, why she's trying to end her relation, end Naomi's marriage with Jimmy? No, it's Jay. It's Jay. On that one, I keep forgetting. Off the top of my head on that particular one, but trying to end the marriage between Naomi and Jey Uso on that one. So now there's a little bit of motivation behind that. So they're probably going to continue on with this feud somewhere down the line on that one, especially with it not really getting any resolution with the Royal Rumble match to go along with it. Naomi eliminated Mandy Rose, but after she saves herself, Mandy Rose eliminates her on that one. So they're probably going to continue on with that. Up next was that Fatal 4-Way Elimination Tag Title match. Or not tag title match, but for number one contendership to the tag titles at Elimination Chamber. Heavy Machinery had a very good showing in this match. They eliminate the New Day. They have a very good showing with the Bar, but the Bar ends out eliminating Heavy Machinery. And right afterwards, the Usos pick up the victory and eliminate the Bar. I thought this was a very good tag team match. Very good showing for Heavy Machinery on this one. And the Usos are going to face The Miz and Shane McMahon at Elimination Chamber for the tag team titles. And this brings us to the main event. The main event of the night, which was, well, both Raw and SmackDown had main events that were pretty much talking points. Daniel Bryan comes out. He talks about winning the Royal Rumble. And I like how he even makes mention, it's like, you know who won at the Royal Rumble? Crowd, Becky Chance, to go along with it. He brings out Eric Rowan. As he hypes up Eric Rowan and everything to go along with that. And I like how he even dispels the Becky Chance, like, no, I won at the Royal Rumble. He does bring out Eric Rowan afterwards. And he doesn't call him Eric Rowan, he just calls him Rowan. They put, and I like this little attention to detail, on his Titantron, where the O is, you have the recycle symbol there. Very good. Very nice touch. How is Daniel Bryan a heel with the shirt that he was wearing that said no violence, it had a bunch of different bits to it, is like no violence, no racism, no, and a bunch of different no's that would be considered very good messages on those particular ones, but somehow he's the heel. Huh. We'll go with that. I guess we'll have to go with that one. But he does come off as saying, it's like, AJ Styles was right about one thing about me. I was a hypocrite. He's saying that he was a hypocrite because of the because he was carrying the current WWE title, which he still calls Daisy in there. The crowd was very good with this one as well, giving Daisy chance to the title. But Daniel Bryan ends up taking that title, and he throws it into the trash as they, as the crowd starts chanting "Goodbye, Daisy," and then he unveils the new WWE Championship, which is a wood, which is like a wooden title. It has like normal, like regular stones in there instead of like diamonds and everything to go, or what would be played as gems and diamonds to go along with that. It is, the strap is made of hemp. They don't even necessarily have the traditional like buckles to the strap. It seems like it's a magnet thing on there. I thought the title looked really good. In a wooden form, the WWE title looks good. on that side of everything. I thought it looked really good. This does eventually bring AJ Styles out, and he asked, I love some of the lines that they gave here, because they do cut the commercial break for a portion of this. But the first thing that AJ Styles asks is if Bryan smoked the prototype for the title. To go along with it is like they were actually not holding back on some of these lines. Randy Orton comes out. You don't really get a promo from him, as they do cut the commercial break. When they come back, you have Jeff Hardy and Mustafa Ali was coming out. Mustafa Ali starts cutting a promo. This all felt kind of rushed here. And then Samoa Joe comes out. And eviscerates everybody in the ring. He doesn't really go after Randy Orton, but he does he starts cutting a promo on wanting to be WWE champion, and it looked like Jeff Hardy was going to interrupt, and then line of the night from Samoa Joe is like, he goes to Jeff Hardy, he's like, hey, pretend this is an AA meeting, or let me get this right, hey, pretend this is an AA meeting, shut up and let me share with the group. And I was like, and you just see Randy Orton like double over in the ring, trying not to laugh that hard. And even Jeff Hardy kind of laughs at it to go along with it. He calls Mustafa Ali, I think, simple to go along with that. That one, which is probably going to continue their storyline as well. Because Mustafa Ali ended up eliminating Samoa Joe from the Royal Rumble. I imagine that they're going to do that. And then he says, he goes up to AJ and is like, well, how's Wendy doing? AJ punches him, brawl starts. Sorry, stumbled over the words. The drink just went down the wrong pipe there for a brief second. Daniel Bryan bails out of the ring during the brawl, says no one's going to get an opportunity at the WWE title. Triple H shows up on the screen saying, you're right, not one of them is going to get a shot at the title. All 5 of them are in Elimination Chamber, and then the brawl continues as they go off the air. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good SmackDown. And actually a very good set of shows that happened in the Phoenix area as well. NXT TakeOver was a really good show. You had Royal Rumble, which, again, I have the full review up, but I thought that was a really good show. And Raw and SmackDown were also fairly good to go along with it. I thought it was a good set of shows done by the WWE over those 4 days to go along with it. And again, yeah, overall, good showing. Good showing on that one. Again, we're not going to go over NXT this week, as it was a traditional after takeover stuff where it was a lot of recaps and minor sets of matches. Not really getting much out of those particular ones going forward. To go along with that, as the story beats for the next takeover are probably going to start as of this upcoming Wednesday. We'll add those back into the to the mix afterwards to go along with it. So with that being said, that is everything I got this week for you guys here on GodSaw's Turnbuckle. I do thank you guys for watching this week. Peace out, take care, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.